Hey, what's up guys? Today we'll be doing a little comparison video of the difference between an Auxbeam and how you use it to use your lights, and an S-Pod, how we use it. We'll be pointing out the main differences between the two and deciding which one is best for your truck. Okay, so let's start with the Auxbeam. So the main comparison here with this is this Auxbeam has 6 buttons, where the S-Pod has a touch screen. So the Auxbeam is pretty customizable. It comes with 60 different sticker options that you can use to label your different buttons. So they have the stickers for the things that you have and the things that you want. So the nice thing about the Auxbeam as well is it's got a few different ways that you can mount it. We have this one mounted on brackets so that it can sit right here for us, but it also comes with a way to mount it using 3M tape, and it can kind of just stick anywhere you'd like it. And then when wiring this, it's a process. It's gonna take some time. You're gonna wanna take your time and run your wires right. It comes with a box for these wires to run into, but you don't really have much room in your fuse box, so you're gonna need to get creative to run this to its switch pan so that the Auxbeam itself will work. So another could be downside is these back blue lights are always on by the buttons when the car is on. There's no way to just turn that off. May not be a big deal, but I don't love it. A nice thing about the buttons is the buttons are nice and crisp. You don't really have to push very hard. It's just a simple click of a button and your lights will turn on and off. The nice thing about this is it is water sealed, and so if you happen to get water in your car or you spill a drink on it or something, it should be fine. So on this specific setup, we have this light that's labeled as beep set up to our ditch lights. We have the fish box one that's set up for our chase lights in the back. Our roof LED is obviously our roof light bar. Fridge set up for something separate, and then the light bar is set up for the bumper light bar. Okay, so now we're just gonna hop in this truck, take a look at its S-Pod and compare it to the Auxbeam. So right off the bat, as you can see, the S-Pod is a touch screen, and you also have the ability to have it on like this, or you can turn it off when you're not using it. This one is completely customizable. You can go through the app or the S-Pod itself and customize every single button and how many buttons you want based on how many auxiliaries that you have. And then you can name them specifically what you want them to be named rather than having to pick from a set list. This one you can have 8 auxiliaries set up to it compared to the Auxbeam where you can only have 6. So it just gives you a little bit more use for the S-Pod that you can hook it up to other things. I know that a lot of guys like to run their comms through their S-Pod or their air compressor rather than having to have that disconnected and you having to connect that yourself. So the S-Pod, like the Auxbeam, is water resistant, so if you spill on it or if you get water in your car for some reason, it should be just fine. And then when it comes to the installation, the S-Pod is definitely superior. It comes with its own fuse box that is already organized, gives you that opportunity to have a really nice organized wiring system. It is a tedious process, just like the Auxbeam, just like wiring anything is, but the S-Pod having all of that stuff set up beforehand makes it a little easier. So like the Auxbeam, the S-Pod can be mounted just about anywhere you want, so you have full range for creativity there. We have ours mounted down here, just kind of stays out of the way, but still is accessible. Another cool thing about the S-Pod is it gives you a live feed about the battery to make sure that you're not pulling too much energy that you're going to be draining your battery. Also gives you a temperature gauge of your lights to make sure you're not running them too hot and burn out your wires. So ours is set up to fog lights, rock lights, our bumper bar, our ditch lights, our roof bar, our air compressor, and all of our backlighting. Okay, so what do we think? There are pluses and minuses to both of these. They're both great and they're both a must-have. When you have these switches that you can control all of your auxiliaries on one thing, it makes life so much easier. So which one is right for you? The Auxbeam is cost-friendly. You have 6 buttons with 6 different auxiliaries, which is quite a few. So if that's what you need and you're just looking for something that's gonna get the job done and it is quality, the Auxbeam is the way to go. But if you're looking for something that is fully customizable and maybe you have more than 6 auxiliaries that you want to hook up, then the S-Pod is the way to go. It's a little more expensive, but the customization is up to you. It's 100% set up to where you can fix it the way you'd like it. As far as me, I love them both. I know that they are both a must-have, and I don't know, you guys tell me what you guys think. Hey, if you like these videos where we compare 2 different products, make sure to hit that like button, comment down below what you'd like us to compare.